Hi, and welcome to the channel, and welcome to this pick a card reading. I wanted to try something different from what I normally do because I think it's a fun way to explore more in depth topics. Um, and since Valentine's Day was yesterday, I felt it would be beneficial to do a type of love reading. This is going to be an honest look at any blockages in love or any transformations that are occurring um, within you when it comes to your love and relationships, and just the deeper side of things. Not necessarily, I don't like to focus on love readings regarding um, certain people and things like that. Of course, there are times to do that and they can be beneficial, but I find that for a collective, it's quite difficult to do, and it can um, cause limerence and delusions. And as a Venus in Pisces myself, I am very familiar with getting caught in that kind of thing. So, this is just going to be an honest look at what's going on with you in regards to love. So if you're going through some kind of conflict, if you're going through, you're feeling blocked, or you're going through a transition or a transformation when it comes to your love life, we're going to look at all these things and, how this is playing out in your life and how you can navigate this situation. All right, so 4 piles: amethyst, carnelian, lepidolite, and smoky quartz. And I will see you at the pile. Okay, hi, pile 1. So, this is going to be your reading on what you need to know about your love life. So, first we have the frog: cleaning house, releasing emotional baggage. The horse: accepting help from another and delegating authority. And the mystery. So, what I am immediately getting for you guys is that there is a lot of deep emotional work that you're being called to do, or the things in your life are triggering you to do at this time. And this is because I feel like there's a blockage with letting other people in, actually being vulnerable with people. You could be somebody that um, finds themselves attracted to emotionally unavailable people or avoidantly attached people. And this is because there is something about the unknown aspect of being intimate and vulnerable with somebody that scares you off. So you could find yourself really attracting partners that are avoidant. And so if you're feeling very triggered, if you're feeling like relationships are out of your grasp, this is what you're being asked to really look at this time, and examine these fears around intimacy, these fears around letting people in, fears around asking for help. Like, it can be as little as asking for help. You might be somebody who is extremely hyper independent, and even just small things like asking someone to grab something out of the kitchen for you, for example. It bothers you and you'd rather just go get it yourself instead of asking. Like, these little things, that's a good way to practice allowing others in. Even though you know that you can go into the kitchen and get whatever you need yourself, but maybe you're really busy with something, like you're at the computer and you can't necessarily leave, but you know that you feel bad asking someone to go grab something for you or something like that. Like, things like this. You want to really observe how you feel in those kinds of situations. And if you're putting way too much on your shoulders and not even allowing other people to help you in any way. And that can be a blockage in the 8th house, right? When that's dealing with intimacy in this way. And, there's this feeling of uncertainty and the unknown that comes with vulnerability. So that's what you're being asked to look at right now is, why are you putting everything on your shoulders in any aspect, even if it's like coworkers, friendships, and romantic partnerships, because that's all related, right? So you want to even start small, like with the example I just used, maybe being more open to allowing people to help you in even just the small ways will build you up to be more comfortable and help you release a lot of these fears and any pains that have caused you to really block people off and caused you to be hyper independent. Okay, so yeah, we have the Hermit card out first. So that's just the confirmation, right? This is Virgo energy as well. So this is very hyper independent. You know best. You can do it best. And that's fine. Of course, you can do things on your own. You can do it the best. But there's also a time and place to allow others in, a time and place to allow others to help you. And that's what's really important, because you can push people away if you're in this hyper independent space. If people don't feel, because people don't feel like they have access to you. So if you are somebody who is feeling like you don't fit in, or you're feeling, like I said, like you can't, like relationships are always kind of out of your grasp and they don't seem to work out, you might find yourself in a lot of like situationships or just relationships with avoidant people. And this is because you yourself have become inaccessible, whether you really realize it or not. I think there's part of you that feels that you are really emotionally vulnerable. You do have a lot to give. There with the Moon card here, there is this intense depth to you that you want to share, and you might even feel like you are sharing it a lot of times. You might feel like, what do you mean? I was being vulnerable. But your sense of being vulnerable is still very guarded and very protected. And there is also a sense of intellectualizing a lot of these deep emotions instead of really feeling them. And that's common too. We can think that through intellectualizing our emotions, we're actually solving the problem and healing it and getting to the root of the problem. But it's still lingering because we haven't allowed ourselves to feel it and process it in the emotional, spiritual, and physical body and actually fully release it. When you intellectualize it, you're figuring out the root of the problem. You're figuring out why things are the way they are, why you feel the way you do, but you're not actually processing it and releasing it, even though there is this kind of peace that comes with being able to identify what the trigger of the emotion is and think what the cause of the trauma is. There's a peace that comes to mind because you're like, oh, I can understand it now, and now I can have it and I can have control over it. So that's it, right? Just having control over it. But when you actually go into the depths and you feel these emotions, then there's that sense of control and there's that uncertainty and that mystery that comes up, right? Because that's how we transform, is through going in the darkness. This is a lot of really heavy 8th house energy. So you might have some 8th house transits going on, or you might have those placements in your natal chart that are really bringing these things up. So that's how we transform, is not by, just intellectualizing the emotions, but actually going down into the darkness of it and really allowing that to destroy us in a sense, allowing those feelings to be present. And really, sometimes it can even, take over. There can be days where you feel like, I just have to lay down for 3 days and process this. Like, it's not an easy thing, but when they're released, they're released. There's no more need to run circles in your mind about it and have this sense of control over your emotions. So that's really what you're being asked to do right now, is really go deep into these eighth house topics. So it could be beneficial for you to even just learn about the eighth house and definitely see what kind of transits are going on for you there, or what kind of astrological placements you have in your natal chart when it comes to that, because this is a key to really unlocking what's blocking you from really having these relationships that you crave, this emotional intimacy that you crave. So that's what's happening right now. If you're feeling triggered, if you're feeling like love is out of your grasp, or you even in not in a love sense, you could feel like in your partnerships, in your work partnerships, in your friendships, like you just kind of always feel like the odd one out, or you feel like you could have a close friend group, but there's a part of you that feels very disconnected from it. And this is why, that because of this guard you have when it comes to these deeper aspects, when it comes to forming these bonds with them, because there's that uncertainty and that fear here. So that's what you're really being asked to transmute right now. And that's what's going to allow you to bring in the opportunities that you're looking for. So with the Wheel of Fortune here, I feel like you get a lot of opportunities for the kind of love that you are really looking for deep down. But you don't see them. You don't, because you're so closed off and in control of your emotions, and like you don't see the opportunities for the kind of love that you're actually looking for. That's what you want, but because you have such an iron grip on your emotions and trying to control this could also be like you might have a fear of the unknown. You might have a fear of, you might be really called to explore a spiritual subject matter, but there could be a fear associated around that. And this is another aspect of that manifesting. If you feel like any kind of fear of the unknown, but you also feel really called to do that, it's like, so that's what you want, but you shut it down. So a lot of times when these opportunities for new friendships and new romance come in, you don't see these people as what you want. Like you'll be attracted to the avoidant person rather than the person that is actually what you want, but you can't see that because of this blockage. You can't, because you're not ready to form that intimate bond with somebody yet. So these opportunities are really, I'm getting, there's opportunities all around you. You might have a lot of people in your life that do want a chance to be in your life, do want a chance for a romantic connection, but you don't see them as an option and you close yourself off to them. Or these are opportunities that haven't even manifested in your life because you're simply just not ready. You have to transmute this energy. You have to be willing to go into the darkness of yourself and reemerge and be reborn as a new person, so to speak, or revitalize, this is 8th house topics. So once you can do that, that's when you're going to start noticing the opportunities. You're going to start seeing what you actually want. You're going to not be afraid to take a chance on, because there's this fear of getting hurt that comes with being intimate and vulnerable with people, right? And I feel that once you go through this transformation in your psyche and in your emotional body, you will have the inner strength and also the confidence to, to not be afraid to take a chance at a relationship and not be afraid to take a chance on somebody, because you have that inner strength now, you have that understanding. And when you can go into the darkness and transmute that darkness within you and that emotional pain, it's a different kind of control. And right now you're trying to maintain control through isolation, through intellectualizing your emotions and having a handle on things. But the type of control you have when you allow yourself to be reborn through going into the darkness of yourself, it's a different kind of control, because you'll have completely released all of these things that you feel the need to intellectualize and have this iron grip on and have this understanding of all the time. You won't even have the same actions and reactions as you did prior to this. So if things are feeling really heavy right now, that is exactly why, and opportunities are going to start to show up to you to make friendships, build connections. And a lot of these people I'm getting are already in your life, and there's a lot of people in your life that want to be more connected to you, but you don't let people in. There's like a feeling that everybody knows that you're not the emotionally vulnerable person, or you're not somebody that's going to let them in. They really want to have that close connection with you, but they're also, if you're feeling a disconnect, they're feeling it also. And I'm also getting that there should be an appreciation for the fact that, and this could help you with dealing with these vulnerability challenges, is knowing that these people, even though they know that there's a disconnect, they still want to get to know you, that they still want to be that place for you to be vulnerable and open. So it's just to think that this whole time you've been subconsciously or consciously pushing people away, they've still been trying over and over and over again. So that in itself is showing that there is security to be had when there's security being offered to you in your friendships right now. So yeah, this could be a very intense time where, going through 8th house transits or the topics of the 8th house like this, it's not easy, because it is essentially like death and rebirth, right? That's what it is, to go into the darkness and to be reborn and release all these things once and for all. But that's what's going to bring you these opportunities and allow you to, one, attract the opportunities you're looking for, but also see the opportunities that have always been there, the people that have been waiting for you to form these connections with them, that have been offering their help and you've been refusing. So it's an intense time, but it will be well worth it. And remember, if you are struggling, this is a great time to practice that vulnerability as little as you can, even if it's like, because you have people around you that have wanted to support you, have wanted to connect with you. So this is a good time to practice that emotional vulnerability with people that you can feel safe with. So just opening up about how you're feeling, how you're going through all of this intense emotional transformation, starting to open up about those things, because you have people that will support you right now, and it will really help you through this transformation. And all right, so we'll get some advice cards for you. Okay, so we have remain vigilant about the current situation, pay attention to signs and omens, and let them dictate your choices. So I feel like with this card, you are somebody who is very connected to your intuition. You are somebody who might have an affinity for spiritual concepts or darker concepts, the occult and things of that nature. But there is a tendency for you to intellectualize these things because there is that fear of the unknown. And because you're being pushed to really look at yourself and stop isolating, stop intellectualizing, your mind can take over and cause anxiety in you, and then you can feel disconnected from your intuition, because I feel like you do have an affinity for this. You're a very intuitive person, but through intellectualizing and being in your head a lot, to maintain this sense of control, it muddies your intuition. So right now, you could feel like it's a very confusing time where you don't know what direction to go, because you're being pushed out of isolation, being pushed into the depths of your emotions, being pushed into the mystery, right? And that can cause you stress. So with this, pay attention to signs and omens. You have this affinity to the occult and to spirituality. So when you see signs, when you see omens, when you're being communicated with, from the spiritual world, from your higher self. You're aware of this, but I think you have a tendency to ignore a lot of signs and things like this. So that's what's going to really help you as you move through this, and you can find comfort and find a sense of direction through connecting to your intuition and also paying attention to the signs around you. If you have a bad feeling about something, or you see a sign that indicates to you intuitively that it's not what you need to be doing, it's not the direction you need to be going in, then you need to honor that. Also, I'm also getting, trust people to show you who they are. So if you're somebody that does find themselves in situationships and being with avoidant people and things like this, there is also with this card this message of letting people show you who they are, and don't try to project a fantasy or expectation onto them. Let people show you who they are. If somebody is being avoidant with you, don't chase after them. Don't develop this feeling of lack because you're tied to this person, because you're attached to this person, or whatever the case is. Trust people to show you who they are. Don't project some kind of fantasy on them, right? If somebody has no problem ignoring you for 2 days or whatever, then just take that. And if you don't like not being in communication with somebody for more than 2 days, then that's it. You draw the boundary. I'm no longer interested in this person because they are not giving me what I need. So you need to really, through this process, you will develop this, but understanding what it is you need in a relationship, what it is you want in a relationship, and then looking for that in people, looking for that in situations. Don't chase people and become attached to a person and then expect that person to give you what you want. Identify what you want and then look for that. And don't worry about who is the vessel it is coming through or anything like that. Just focus on what you actually want in a relationship. So then you will be able to see clearly when people show you who they are, you'll be able to believe it. Because if somebody has no problem not texting for a week and you don't appreciate that, that's not what you want in a relationship, and you don't want to waste your time in that, then just don't. And when you can identify what it is you really want in a relationship, then you'll have no problem. You'll be like, okay, that's not it then. That's not what I'm looking for. Because you're not attached to the person. You're attached to, or not even attached, but you're not attached to the person, but you're looking for your idea of love, your idea of self-worth and value being reciprocated. So if that's not showing up in a person, then you have no problem leaving, because you're not missing out on anything. It's not what you're looking for. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Then we have keep your sense of humor and don't take things too seriously. I think that's really important when we're dealing with really heavy topics, like the 8th house topics, like this crazy transformation that you're going through emotionally. And I feel like you don't have any problem doing this. Like if you are an air sign, or you have any earth air placements, I feel like you're easily able to joke about these heavy topics and heavy situations. And that's not a bad thing. Just being able to kind of laugh at yourself and be like, oh, I'm really going through it or whatever. And allow yourself to lighten up, because these energies can get really heavy. The longer that things have been repressed, the more intense it is. So definitely keep your sense of humor, and definitely don't be afraid to laugh about things and have fun, and allow yourself to take time to just do something you enjoy, to take the burden off you a bit, because these are heavy things, and you can feel really tired, you can feel exhausted, because these have to be processed through all the bodies, right? The emotional body and the energetic body and the physical body. So it can be an intense time. So don't be afraid to just have fun. It doesn't have to be serious all the time. Just because you're going through major inner work right now doesn't mean it has to be really intense all the time. You can take time out and watch a movie that makes you laugh, or hang out with people that make you laugh, or do something fun. It's not going to hinder your progress. Okay. And then we have let yourself stand out and be noticed, and let go of fear and know that you're safe and protected at all times. So the let yourself stand out and be noticed, that ties into the fear of intimacy, the fear of the unknown, and forming those bonds with people. There's part of yourself that you hide, especially if you are, like I said, into any occult subject matter or taboo subject matter. You might hide this aspect of yourself away, or it doesn't have to be those things specifically, but there's something of yourself that you don't allow others to see. It could just be this more vulnerable side of you, and that's what's causing this disconnect, right? So just be willing to open up more. Be willing to show people the things, like if you're afraid of showing people your hobbies or interests, or you're afraid in talking about the subject matter that really interests you, you hide it away. Don't do that. Let people see who you are. People want to see, you have people in your life right now that want to get to know you more, but you don't let them in. People want to hear about your interests. People want to hear, and a lot of times I'm getting that if you are somebody who is into spirituality and the occult and things like this, I mean, you obviously are on a tarot reading channel, but these people would benefit from hearing you talk about that, and they might actually be interested themselves. So don't be afraid to present more of yourself. And this is the thing, with the last card, the zebra card, you don't have anything to worry about when it comes to this, especially if you can practice not getting attached to people and situations, but what you want to cultivate in your life in terms of love, in terms of relationships, in anything really. If you can get clear on what that feeling is for you, what you're really looking for, then you don't have to be attached to certain people in certain situations. You can just be looking for that feeling and that acceptance. And if people can't offer that to you, you can walk away, because the more you let yourself stand out, the more you share your interests with the world, the more you will attract people that are interested in what you're interested in and that are safe to be around. And like I said earlier, you already have people in your life that continue to trying to be let in to your more vulnerable side, but you don't let them. So let that be a sign that you are safe with these people. You have energetically pushed these people away multiple times, and they still continue to wait for you to open up vulnerably. So those are safe connections. All right, that is what I have for you guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed this reading in the comments, and if you would like more pick a card readings, and if you would like a personal reading, I will link it in the description below. And I'll see you next time. Hi Pile 2, welcome to your reading on what you need to know about your love life. Okay, so we have movement, we have the king, and partnership. So this is very positive. If you have been feeling stagnant in your love life. I feel like this is changing. And I feel that the reason this is changing is because you have recently come into balance of your energies, and you're in a place now where you can attract or enter a partnership with someone who's really on your level. If you've been finding that you're not really matching with people or things like that, I feel like this is changing. And I think the reason that it was held up before is because there was some imbalance within you, and now you're in a place where these energies within you are balanced, and that's going to allow you to move forward and work with somebody. I feel like before you weren't ready to work with somebody, before you weren't ready to be in a relationship just yet because of this imbalance. And now you're coming into a time where you are going to be able to enter a partnership and meet someone. Yeah, so we have the Devil card and the Fool card here. So there could be addictions that you had to work through, vices, or just this could also be in a material sense if you felt like your life just wasn't where you thought it should be or where you wanted it to be. You're actually starting a new chapter, and I think things got very heavy for you for a little bit because of whatever this devil situation was, whether that is some kind of vice or some kind of burden or work situation or material situation. There was this burden that had to be released so you could actually enter a new cycle. And I feel like that's what the imbalance was, and that's why you were kind of blocked off to finding the right person at the right time, and it felt like things weren't moving forward. I feel also that you might have got to the point where you were just okay with being alone. You're okay with doing it on your own. You had like accepted that this is how things are, and you're, have this hyper independence. And I feel like if you are going through this time where things felt really heavy, where you did feel like you were forced to maybe even like a rock bottom situation with this Devil card, where you were forced to really look at it and address whatever burden this was. This burden was not to punish you. I also feel like I have to say it wasn't to punish you. It wasn't anything like that, but it was to push you to the point of balancing these energies. I feel like there was something extremely out of balance in your life when it comes to work, finances, or any kind of addiction or vice or something like this. And you were being pushed to the point where you had to release these things so you could start new. And I feel like because that energy was so heavy, you just got used to doing it on your own. And whatever is coming in for you now is not something that you expect at all. I think you did this work. You did the work of healing, or you're going through this now, of healing these burdens, releasing these issues. And you're not even expecting this. You're just ready to start new. You're just like, okay, I think the universe has pushed you into enough situations. Like I said, this could have been like a rock bottom situation where the universe has pushed you into enough situations where finally you said, okay, I have to have this new start. I have to change how I'm living. I have to deal with this. And then you enter this new period, but you're okay with it. I feel like this partnership is not something that you expect. It might even be something that you gave up even wanting or caring about because you were going through such a heavy time. And But now you are moving forward. Now, once this energy is healed and you find yourself starting a new chapter, like with this Fool card here, I feel like this is like the weight of this just being finally off your shoulders and you can finally start again. And that's where opportunities are going to come in for you, not just with partnership, but if you are struggling in your material life also, this is going to help you in a new beginning here. Because it's all about balancing. I feel like balancing these masculine and feminine energies. With the king here, I'm getting that there could have been, or you might be going through this, a problem with really asserting yourself and taking action, and that could have been what got you into this devil energy to begin with, is just like a lack of action, a lack of inspiration, motivation, that really like pulled you down, and things just got really out of balance. So you were in a space of having to rebalance these things. And once you enter this new cycle, it's like the weight's lifted off. You'll be able to really feel it. And if you're not already feeling it now, I feel like there's going to be a point in the next few days from when you're seeing this that you can feel like, okay, I'm finally out of the darkness. Like you can feel like the energy is getting lighter now. And it's because you activated this, the masculine energy, or the king energy here, this authoritative energy over your life. And instead of being passive to the burdens, you're taking action on them, and that's bringing you into balance and moving things forward. During this period with the Five of Swords and the Death card here, during this period, you might feel overcome with the feeling like you should give up, or feeling like your mind can get the better of you. I just want to say that this is your mind still living in survival mode from whatever this devil energy was. So I feel emotionally and like spiritually, you may feel this weight slowly being lifted off, and you'll feel the energy getting lighter and lighter, and you'll start to see more opportunities come into your life. But your mind is still, even though in an emotional and spiritual way, you feel all these things getting lighter, but your mind is still not there yet. Your mind is still back here. It takes the mind and the body longer to catch up, because your mind and your body aren't going to understand that things are okay, even though in an emotional way, in a spiritual way, you feel calm and you feel ready. Your mind and your body aren't going to understand that yet. They need longer to get used to it. So your mind might be saying negative things. Like you could know that these opportunities are coming, but your mind could be telling you like, oh, you should freak out, you should stress. But there is part of you that knows that there's no reason to freak out and stress anymore. So when you have those moments, it is important to do things that calm your mind, do things that bring you back into this state of peace. And always remember, instead of falling into anxiety, instead of falling into depression, lean more into, because this is what you're being asked to do right now, is lean more into this king energy, taking action, taking authority. So if you find yourself getting stressed, think of what can you do now to maintain this kind of control over your life. Even if it's just cleaning your room or something, just what can you do right now that will improve your life, to take authority over your life, to take action in some way, and not to get bogged down with negative thoughts or depressed. But especially if you have a goal or idea you're working on here, that is what you should focus on. Don't worry about your negative thoughts. Try and pour into that, because this king energy wants you to take action over your life, and that's how you're going to move things forward. there's this resistance, this Five of Swords and the Devil energy. These things are heavy. They're heavy energies, and they want to kind of pull you back and to get into this higher state, with the Fool, the Wheel, and the Ace of Pentacles here. It's very new. So like I said, your body and your mind is not used to living this way. It's used to living in survival mode. And it's a whole new way of feeling and existing. So you have to allow yourself time to adjust to that, and just know that your mind is only telling you these things or is only telling you negative things, or telling you to give up, or you're feeling like you want to give up, because your mind and your body can be overwhelmed by this change. They don't understand yet how your life is changing into this more spiritual understanding. And so the more you can enact this masculine energy of taking control and authority and taking action towards the things you want, the more opportunities will come to you, the more you will grow this abundance in your life, the farther away you'll get from this heavy energy, and the more you'll retrain your mind and body to work in a new way and feel more relaxed instead of in survival mode. So that's what's going to move you forward, and that's what the transformation is here. And you can see at the end here we have the Nine of Cups. So this is your emotional fulfillment, and it feels like at the beginning of this you're so far away from it in this heavy energy with the Devil card. But this situation, whatever this Devil situation is, manifested due to this imbalance of being very passive instead of, I feel like there's a sense of powerlessness where you felt like you didn't have control. You felt like, you were just going through the motions, and there was so much stress going on that there was no way you could take control, and you just became passive. And the transformation that's taking place now is activating this active energy, this actionable energy, and that's what moves your life forward, and that's what triggers this transformation where you become balanced. So you're not, and this could also be too, I feel like you're somebody who has always been in balance. It's not that you've always been passive, but it's like when you get into action mode, you're 100% action, and you don't know how to rest, and then things get on top of you, and then you go into passive because you get burnt out and whatever, and then it's always this back and forth. So what's happening now is you're coming into this balance where you know when to rest and you know when to take action, and you can live in flow. And that's what's going to bring you to this emotional fulfillment. And this emotional fulfillment is with the Nine of Cups. This is you singular on your own, right? This is you finding this balance, you finding this value and this emotional fulfillment from within yourself, because you started in this rock bottom place, and you had to in order to dig yourself out of this rock bottom place, you had to cultivate this sense of self-love, this sense of authority over your life, and finding your own emotional fulfillment even when it seemed like there was nothing to be happy about. So this is actually really powerful, because if you're coming out of this time now, so when you're fully gone through this transition, this transformation with the Death card, you're going to be so powerful, because nobody can take this emotional fulfillment from you, because it's not reliant on anyone or anything. You cultivated this when you had everything taken away from you, when you were alone, and it's extremely powerful. And the way you operate in the world and the way you live your life is going to change forever because of this, because nobody can take away the emotional fulfillment and the sense of self-worth and value that you've found within yourself on this journey. So that starts with you being alone, but we do have the partnership card here again. So I want to say, if you've been feeling, because we were talking about relationships, I feel like these got really intense, but if you've been feeling alone, if you've been feeling hyper independent, like you have to go it alone, or things in your life were so stressful that you couldn't even possibly even bother having a relationship, you might have given up on the idea completely. When you go through this transformation and you come into this Nine of Cups energy, this emotional fulfillment, you're going to attract somebody who's on your level. So like I said earlier, if you're feeling like you can't meet somebody who's on your level, I'm getting that you might be somebody who is extremely intelligent and you have a hard time entering relationships, especially romantically. Like you can't be attracted to somebody who's really not on your level intellectually. So it could be hard for you to find that, but now that you've come into this balance within yourself, you're going to attract that same person. You're going to attract that energetic match into your life in the time after this transformation. So it's worth saying here too, because you are going through this intense time or you're coming out of it now, that with Pluto transitioning into Aquarius, there is a lot of this transformation happening for everybody right now. And this is how it's taking place in your life. So if you feel like things are very heavy and very intense, just keep this in mind. Don't get discouraged. Things are very intense because Pluto is not a easy energy. Pluto does not care about feelings. It cares about what needs to be done, right? So this is all happening for your greater good, even though it might not seem like it right now. And you will come into, if you are feeling alone, you feel like you've given up, you are going to come into not only romantic partnerships that are a match for you, but also friendships as well. All right, so let's get some advice cards here. Okay, so the Seagull we have now is the time for deep emotional healing. And that's exactly it. I feel, so when you're in this devil energy, there can be, there's a tendency to be like super focused on money or super focused on thoughts or whatever. But what people don't realize, especially if they're not involved in spirituality, is that our physical reality, we manifest our physical reality through the thoughts, feelings. The feeling that we put behind things is what manifests in our reality. So when you're in this devil energy and you are going through it, it can be very hard to, you want to push and push and push to try and squeeze something out of the material world. But what all of this is showing you, what entering this really difficult time is showing you, is that it's not about the material world. It's not about these things. It's about the deep emotional healing that needs to take place, because your pain, the pain within you, is what has manifested these circumstances in your life, and it's what brought you into this devil energy, but not because you're being punished, but because it needs to be transmuted now. This energy needs to be transmuted. You can't continue living, or you shouldn't continue living in that type of pain and that type of burden. So it's and because you have been through such an extreme, also the other extreme is available to you, this Nine of Cups, and it starts with the emotional healing. So if you really feel backed into a corner, or you're just coming out of that, it's really about the emotional healing that's taken place. You're really being put into situations that it could trigger your anger, it could trigger things like this, because these energies need to be transmuted. So as much as it is about the physical world and taking action where you can in the physical world, it's also important to recognize how this is part of emotional healing, and that's what's going to help you to take appropriate action. Balance action, not action out of anxiety, not action out of sadness, or not lack of action because you feel so down. So yeah, recognizing the emotional components that trigger you and cause you to take action, certain actions or have actions and reactions in your life, and trying to move from a more balanced place, trying to observe what the feelings are and how to move through that. And then we have get clear on your intention and stay focused and move quickly to achieve your goal. So, yeah, if this is this actionable, this masculine energy, the king here, focus on what you want, and not only materially, if you want money, if you want a partnership, but what do you want to feel? What if you're in this Nine of Cups energy, what is that? What does that feel like for you? Do you feel secure? Do you feel safe? Do you feel satisfied? Do you feel a sense of intimacy, a sense of closeness? What are all these things? So feel that, and then start taking action in your life in ways that make you feel that. Even if it's just, decorating your room or something. What makes you feel how you, when you're in a Nine of Cups energy, how are you feeling? So ask yourself that. What are those feelings? Satisfied, inspired, fulfilled, all of these things. And then do things, take action on things that can bring you closer to that feeling. Take action out of that feeling. Don't take action out of being stressed or not taking action at all because you're so stressed. Take action out of a place of, this is going to bring me fulfillment. If I hang this picture of a flower, so even if it's just as small as that, it doesn't have to be a big grandiose thing just yet. But even if it's like, if I hang this picture of a flower up, I will feel peaceful when I'm at home. Like doing things like that, and you'll start to build this energy, right? And it seems like something small, but it actually becomes something. It helps your mind and body learn to adjust to being at peace instead of being in survival. So I hope that's making sense. And then we have express yourself through rhythm and movement. So yeah, I feel like that's important too. So like I was saying, these heavy energies need to be transmuted, and you might find you're in situations that make you want to cry, want to scream, things like this. That's a physical manifestation of your body transmuting these energies or trying to release them, especially if you have a lot of creative energy. If you're not taking action right now, if you're not in that king energy yet, you could have a lot of pent up energy, and it could cause you to have these emotional outbursts. So I feel like expressing yourself, not through just what the card says, but any kind of creative outlet that you can right now is going to help you process and transmute these heavy feelings and really have a good time, because you are going through a very heavy and intense period right now. So doing things like that, getting creative, allowing yourself to just have fun and relax in that way will really help you in this process, because it's important to do things that allow you to feel that sense of peace right now instead of getting really trapped in your head. And then it says take time to rest and recuperate rather than continue your striving. And this might seem counterintuitive, because when you're in a stressful situation, especially in your material life, like with the Devil card here, it can seem ridiculous to be told you need to rest. But this is coming up here not because you need to do nothing, but because this is survival mode, right? And in the Nine of Cups here at the end, you're thriving. So when you're coming out of survival mode, you can start to feel extremely tired. You can start to, because your body is like, oh, finally we can rest. Finally, there's no threat. And you might feel, so as much as you are asked to take action, again, it's about that balance, right? Because you don't want to be taking so much action that you become burnt out and passive, and you don't want to be so passive that you feel like you're losing inspiration to take action. So it's about this balance. So you do need to take action, but you also need to really listen to your body and know when it's time to rest, when it's time to just do something fun, and allow yourself to not worry about things for a bit. And really listen to your body, because like I said, when you're coming out of survival mode or anything like that, those intense emotions, there's going to be times where you need to rest. There's going to be times where you need to back off from the project you're working on or the goal you're trying to achieve for a bit. And it can seem counterintuitive, but it is actually more beneficial for you in the long run. And what this is all about right now is really cultivating that balance. And back on the topic of love, because that's what we were originally talking about, is if you've felt like you aren't going to find partnership or things like this, or you've just never had it work out, this is the key thing that needs to be transmuted in order for you to attract this partnership. You're coming into balance, and in turn, when you get into this space of peace and balance within yourself, that's when you will find the opportunity or meet the person that is an energetic match to this. And because I feel like you've been in relationships where it's been so unfulfilling or so imbalanced, that you've really given up and become more independent, and that doesn't need to be the case anymore. All right, so that's what I have for you guys. Thank you for watching. Please comment if this resonated and like the video, and let me know if you'd be interested in more pick-a-card readings, and I will see you next time. Hi Pile 3, welcome to your reading, and let's get into the cards. So we have knowledge and healing, feelings and emotions, and the eagle. So you're definitely in a time of doing a lot of deep healing and really becoming emotionally balanced. And I feel like you're also gaining a lot of knowledge and really developing this connection to the higher realms, to spirit guides, or whatever is the case for you. You're really developing that connection, or really, if you're already a spiritual person, you're really tapping into this and you're really learning a lot and developing a much deeper connection, I think, than you even anticipated when it comes to your spiritual growth. You might even feel like you have you are developing psychic abilities, or you're going deeper into psychic abilities and things like this. So I feel that if you are wondering what is blocking you in love, which was the point of this reading, it is the fact that you are a highly spiritual person. You are how do I say this? You're just not. You're just not an average person. You're very spiritually in depth. You're very connected, and I feel like you've been waiting to meet somebody that is like that also. And what I'm getting is that the reason that you've been blocked in love in this way, is because you're nowhere near the level of spiritual development that you're meant to get to. You're somebody who's meant to be extremely adept when it comes to occult knowledge, when it comes to spirituality. And I'm also getting, when it comes to healing, I feel like with the water fairy, and because you are going through a period of emotional healing and either reconnection or deepening the connection to the spirit realm, you may have been somebody who settled for less before in relationships. You're somebody who really does love deeply. You could have Pisces placements, or any water placement for that matter. You really, you have a lot of love to give, and I feel like you have poured it into people who are not on your level. You're a very high, I don't know how to say it, like, I don't want to say high level, but yeah, it's like you're a very high vibrational being that is incarnate in a human body, and people don't understand that. People don't understand you, and I feel like you've been compromising yourself. It's like almost like settling. It's like you're kind of like this otherworldly being. And I mean, I will say this if it resonates. I don't like, this is another thing I don't like really talking about in a collective sense, because again, there's tendency for delusion and all kinds of crazy things come out of this movement. But with star seeds are coming to mind here. So just like this otherworldly being, and you're in this earthly plane, and I feel like you've been compromising yourself. It's like you're such a vast being, and you've been kind of squeezed into this box, and in relationships you might compromise who you are, because you're just like, well, I guess I'm here. I guess this is what I got. I guess this is how people are. Like, I guess I'm gonna have to settle for something like this, even though you have so much vast knowledge. Like, you're somebody, yeah, you're a very high level spiritual being that you have so much knowledge and so much emotional depth and spiritual depth and connection to being able to recognize and feel and see and understand things that people can't understand. And really, you want a connection like that. But you've been settling because, you're like, okay, here I am on this earthly realm. Like, I guess this is what we have here, right? And you could have gone through a lot of hardships because of that. And if you're feeling isolated right now, if you're feeling like you haven't had any opportunities for love, or it's because a lot of these, you settling for relationships, is because you lack the belief that there could really be somebody that understands you in this way, that somebody who is also like this multi-dimensional person that could come in. And you could have gone through a lot of really painful experiences as a result of that, because to enter the relationships or situations that you've been in your life required you to ignore your true value. It required you to doubt your intuition. It required you to even suppress a lot of your knowledge and a lot of your magic and a lot of your psychic abilities and things of that nature. Um, I'm also getting that this could be an ancestral trauma as well. You could be somebody who is comes from a line where um, people were persecuted for their beliefs or had their religion or spirituality taken from them in some way, and you are somebody in your family that is um, releasing those blockages and healing those traumas. And in order for that to happen, I feel like in the beginning of your life, you had to really face a lot of these things. You had to go through these situations where you had to play it small, where you had to stifle your real potential and your real ability um, to feel that, feel what that's like, so that you can really come into and appreciate your full power and transmute that energy. So this is really intense. So in your relationships with the Two of Wands and the Four of Cups here, this is very heavy energy. It always felt like there's something more. So you could, I'm actually getting, you could also have Pisces Venus as well in your chart. Just, you have so much depth and so much love to give, and you'd enter relationships and it always felt like there was something more. Maybe it was good in the beginning, but after a while you're just like, yeah, it's good in the beginning because you're used to repressing yourself and you're used to playing it small and not really sharing this spiritual, this vast side of yourself. Sorry, my video cut, but what I was saying was you're used to playing it small in relationships, and when you enter relationships, there is this, it was good in the beginning, but there was always this sense after a while that there's something more for you out there. You'd after time, maybe quite quickly, you'd become dissatisfied in relationships. I'm really drawn to this the van and the globe here. You'd be drawn to more. You knew there was more out there for you, but you didn't know how to get there, and you'd become quickly dissatisfied, not only in your relationships but in other situations as well, where you're like, I don't want to live this way. I know there's something more. There's this like power inside of you, this calling inside of you. And with the Four of Cups here, what I love about this card is that it really shows, this dissatisfaction, but at the same time, there's all this opportunity here. It's like your guides and whatever your spiritual connection is, they've been waiting for so long for you to turn and see the potential that you have. The life that you want has always been there, but I felt like you've been stuck in this feeling of dissatisfaction because you've probably been put from the time you were born into very heavy situations. Maybe a toxic household, just very difficult situations throughout your life. And you became used to this dissatisfaction, but there's part of you that's always like, is that all there is? Like, I want to do something more. I know I can do something more. And this opportunity has just been waiting for you this whole time, for you to turn and see that there is, that what you want, what you're longing for, it's it is available to you, and all you have to do is, because I feel like with all the knowledge and all the depths of yourself, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, um, you this is sorry, this was just coming through now. um, Spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, you're so vast, but I feel like this has not translated into the material world, and you could have um, found yourself going through a lot of hardships in the material world, hardships in relationships, this dissatisfaction not only in the relationships that have been brought into your life through family members or through friends at a young age, or even the friends you're with now, and the romantic partners you've had in your life. um, there's a lot of hardships, there's a lot of struggle in that, and you're somebody who's like, I don't want this regular life. I don't want to just be, you know, part of the system. I don't want to just merge in the system. There's something more for me here. And but you might have been forced into very hard relationships because you are a very high energy being, high vibrational being, and I feel like in this world you were put into situations that there might have been financial struggle. You might have not been able to manifest what you want in a physical aspect. So that's what you're doing now. So if you've been feeling isolated, if you anything like this, it's to push you. You're really, all of these doors, all of the options for you to choose something that would make you dissatisfied, they're closing now. Your guides are really like, no, there's no more playing it safe. There's no more hiding yourself. There's no more hiding your value and hiding your worth. Those options aren't becoming available to you. The only option that's available to you now is to take this cup and really go on this journey that you've been meant to go on. Like, I feel like this is something you've wanted to do, but perhaps you weren't ready for it until now. And now all there's no option. It's like the universe is not allowing you to put yourself in a situation that will make you dissatisfied. And I think you might be at a crossroads right now where you're like, oh, well, you might have tried to do something that is more aligned with who you really are spiritually, but you haven't been quite sure. Like with the Page of Pentacles, you haven't been really quite sure how to manifest that, how to go about that, how to take that path. And so you might have been like, oh, I guess maybe I should just settle for joining the system, living that regular life, settling for this person. But those doors will always close in your face now because you're done living that type of life. You've learned everything that you need to learn from these situations. You don't need to be here anymore. And I feel like you do stay here because that's what you're used to. That's how you're used to being treated. That's how you're used to feeling. But now you need to know that you don't have to just daydream about what you want. You can actually start to build it. And if you find that when you try to go after certain things or do certain things, if they're not aligned with your higher purpose here, those doors are going to close in your face now, because you're really being pushed to trust in yourself, trust in your value, and trust in the spiritual realm to really support you right now. Trust in your own ability and your own knowledge to support you. You are a very high level being that is incarnate here, and you know that intuitively, and you're being asked now to not play it small. You're being asked to expand into all that you are and really start on this path, even though you don't really know how it's going to work out. That's why you are being asked to really because you're growing into a more spiritual knowledge, more connection, more emotional depth, and that's how you're going to be supported this time if you're feeling isolated. And you could be feeling isolated because you're being forced to give up these situations that are extremely dissatisfying to you, and that causes isolation. But this isolation is to build up your sense of inner value and self-worth so that you can really grow into the person that you're meant to be. You can really allow, instead of playing yourself small, instead of hiding the fact that you're a highly intuitive, highly spiritual, and highly gifted, high vibrational person, instead of hiding that, you're being asked to grow into that in the physical, to represent that in the physical. You're not meant to just be an average person. So yeah, so you're starting on this path now. I'm getting like, you're not allowed to go back to a dissatisfying situation. You're not allowed to take that job that you know you don't like, but you'll just do it because it feels safer than going on this new journey of manifesting what you want into the physical. Six of Pentacles, yeah. This is, you're being helped spiritually, and all that you need to do, and I know this sounds, it can sound crazy, is if you're going through a hard time where you want to stick with what you know, you want to stick with the system because it's safe, it can really be hard to take that leap of faith because you're being asked to trust in the spirit realm, trust in your ancestors helping you. Because like I said, I feel like a lot of this repression can come from an ancestral line where there was persecution for spiritual beliefs and things of that nature. And your ancestors are helping you. They want you to do this. They want you to release these this is intense energy. They want you to go on this path. They I feel like the more that you try and resist going on the spiritual path, like they're waiting to help you, they want to help you, but they can't until you wholly just trust in your spiritual capabilities, trust in the spirit realm, trust in your ancestors supporting you through this. I feel like they get frustrated when you try to go back to this dissatisfying lifestyle. And that's why those doors are closing for you now. So if you're resisting taking that faith, because I feel like your spirit guides or ancestors, they're constantly showing you now that this is the way. Please just take this chance on yourself. Please just follow this path. It doesn't make sense to you. It's scary. Because your support relies on the unseen, relies on the spirit realm, relies on your ancestors, it can be hard to trust in that because you're looking for something stable to support you. It's like you want that 9-to-5 job that you know is dissatisfying, but you just want this sense of security from it. But those doors are closing for you, and it makes you stressed out because all you have to rely on then is the unseen world, and it's like you feel intuitively that they are supporting you, but you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Like in the practical world, I need to pay my bills, I need to do this, I need to do that, and it's like they get that, and when you wholeheartedly express yourself the way you want to, you will be supported in that, but you can't see it. But the longer that you stop yourself from just taking that chance on yourself, doing what you want, if you are, you could be thinking about taking a really unconventional path and you don't know how it's going to play out or how you're going to be supported, and your ancestors just want you to take that path. They want you to just take the risk. And the more you resist that, the more you're going to feel stuck there, and you're going to be left stressing out about material things because the doors of the past are closing. The key to making money now, and the key to having prosperity in the material world is through following this path. Because what's happening is, you might have been somebody that grew up struggling with the material world and working jobs that you couldn't stand and things like this. But what's happening now is all this spiritual intensity, all this high, because you are a high vibrational being. Now you're being asked to ground that in the material world. So what starts out as something new and uncertain, it very quickly grows into something to reflect the vastness of your spirituality. And it's something you're not used to. So it's something that is unnerving, but yeah, you're just being asked to take that chance. If you've wanted to do something unconventional for a while and you've been thinking about it, now is the time to go for it. Like, the opportunities are present. Like, there's no going back to the past now. And I feel like you've spent so many years frustrated in these dissatisfying situations. You don't want to go back to it anyway. You want to do this unconventional thing. You want to do something different. But you're stopping yourself because there's that need for security, right? Okay, so the Queen of Pentacles. It's just all about trusting and being open to receiving. Don't try and have everything figured out. I feel like a reason that you're being stuck in these dissatisfying situations, or stuck right now because you're literally not allowed to go back to the dissatisfying situations, but you're not sure how to take this step forward. You have to be open to, because you want to do something unconventional, you have to be open to unconventional ideas, unconventional opportunities that come to you. And because we're talking about you being highly spiritual, this is going to come in the form of like communication from the spirit realm, communication with your intuition, and you're growing so much spiritually. You've always been very spiritually gifted, but that's not the end of it. Like, you're about to like come into spiritual gifts like tenfold. So Queen of Pentacles is really being open to receiving opportunities, being open to receiving information, and being open to receiving abundance in ways that you aren't used to, the ways you can't intellectualize, ways you can't predict. You're really being asked to trust right now, and I feel like every fiber of your being is trying to like go the other way. So, okay, 10 of Wands. I also want to say here, you're very close to achieving this satisfaction, and that's why you're not allowed to go back to the dissatisfying situations, because you're very close to achieving what you want. You just need to take that leap of faith, and you just need to push. Your 10 of Wands, like, the cycle is almost completed. You just need to push. You just need to take that leap of faith, and you need to trust, and trust in your ability to attract what you need in maybe unconventional ways, or ways you're not used to, ways that you don't have to work as hard for, because these are opportunities that your ancestors are providing you or helping you with. And you're not going to make money in the same way, you're not going to live in the same way, but you're going to be very abundant because of this, because this is the material world about to reflect the vastness of your spirituality. So you're very close to this. All you have to do is take that push, take that leap. Just put the last bit of your effort into whatever it is you want to do, and just trust that it'll happen. Don't just sit here paralyzed by fear of the unknown and not being able to go back to what's familiar. See if we can get any. Yeah, Knight of Swords. This could also have to do with communicating your ideas. We have this crow here, but it's the relationship to the bird here. I feel like because you are such a deeply spiritual person, you are really being asked to express that now, because I feel like you've stifled a lot of that in the past, and you really need to express your spirituality, express your creativity. That is part of the path that you're on. And you know all this, you're just resisting it. Now, when it comes to love, because we're talking about what has been blocking love, this is it. There's nothing really blocking it. It's just that you're being denied going back to dissatisfying situations. You're not like, this is what I'm getting. You're really not allowed to settle for a dissatisfying job. You're not allowed to settle for a dissatisfying relationship. And you know this. I feel like throughout these times in your life where you've had to sit in dissatisfying relationships, you've had to long for something more. You're at the point where you're like, I don't want anything less than somebody who is on my level vibrationally, who I can express the vastness of my spiritual knowledge and my intuitive emotions and talk about these things. And so don't shy away from talking about these things. It's definitely part of your path. It's part of your career path. And it's also what's going to attract to you the relationship that you're looking for, the person that you're looking for, like this soulmate connection, right? All right, so it's not that you're being isolated because it's just going to be like that forever. It's that you're being pushed on this path, and the reason that you haven't met somebody who is like a soulmate or somebody you feel that you could spend the rest of your life with, I feel like you've also resisted relationships because you feel like no matter what, nobody's going to understand you, and you're always going to feel dissatisfied. No, once you start walking this path, you go on that, whatever that unconventional career is. I really feel like it's a spiritually inclined career, or some kind of artistic, whatever it is. It's an unconventional, it's outside of the regular like 9 to 5 system. When you start on that path, and you really get going on that path, that's when you're going to meet the person. Because this person comes because right now you've been playing yourself small. You've been hiding the fact that you're like this high level spiritual being, right? Once you start speaking about this and walking that path, you're going to attract like-minded people because of that. And you're also going to attract somebody who you can be in a relationship with, who does understand you in this way. It's not going to be this dissatisfying thing. And I feel like that's why you might have even like given up on relationships or just become okay with being alone. But yeah, this is not all there is to life. Like, there's so much more, and you're just being pushed right now to go on that path. So let's get some advice for you right now. Okay, so we have two. So we have, you're overlooking some important details. Pay closer attention to what's going on. And this came out with it. Be silent, pay attention, and simply observe with your eyes, ears, and physical feelings what is happening inside and all around you. Yeah, so it's hard for you to trust in this process right now because there's no tangible physical thing that you can see to grab at. Like, if you go on this path, you're not sure that you're going to be secure. So you want to kind of go back to like a conventional lifestyle, because even though you're going to be dissatisfied, you know there's some sense of security in that. But you really need to go within. Like, it's really about like that high priestess energy, quieting your mind, going within, not making moves unless they feel right to you, really paying attention to those messages that you're receiving from your ancestors, and paying attention to the messages from your ancestors, paying attention to your intuition. Because I'll use this as an example. When you think about going on this unconventional path, you're like, yes, that feels great, I want to do it. But then when you think about, oh, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? Then you start freaking out. And then you're like, oh, maybe I should just go back and get like a regular job or something. But then when you think about getting the regular job, like you might even get job offers and you're like, oh, like that sounds awful. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. So that's like your intuition being like, yeah, don't go on that path. Take this path. So, as difficult as it can be when we're under stress in the material world, find support. And I know it's annoying to say because I've been in this situation myself, and I would get so mad when people would tell me this, or readers would tell me this. You have to just trust when you see the signs, see the communication, trust that's your form of support. That's your confirmation that things are going to be okay. And like, your ancestors are helping you here. You are going to be supported. You are going, don't worry about how the money is going to come. Definitely don't be like absolutely reckless, but don't worry about how things are going to happen, how money is going to come. A lot of the ways in which you're going to receive abundance now are ways you haven't even thought of because you've been living in like the system for so long. So yeah, really, you're being asked to trust in the unseen. And also, because we were talking about how you're growing spiritually like tenfold right now, this is part of it. This is kind of part of your initiation into that, is learning to trust, learning to go within, quieting the mind, and taking signs from the unseen, acting on your intuition instead of acting out of stress. Like, all of these things, you might feel like materially, or like to a regular person that lives within the system that isn't as spiritually advanced as us, they might see that as, oh my god, you're like doing nothing, or what, like, you know, those expectations of society. But what's happening really is you're being initiated. This is how, because your spiritual gifts are growing, and this is how you're being initiated into that, by having kind of the material support stripped down so you can really hone in on the psychic level of things. Like, it's very intense. Okay, and then we have stop complaining and focus your attention on the blessings in your life. So if you are stuck in a dissatisfying situation, focus on how you can change that. Or if you are scared of taking this next step because you're not sure of what's going to happen, and you might feel, so when you feel unsupported in the material world, it's easy to feel like that's all there is, and it's easy to feel like nothing's going right and whatever. This is, again, this is part of manifestation too. This is high level spiritual knowledge that you're coming into now. The complaining happens when you're so focused on the lack of material support. You're so focused on how wrong everything's going in the material world, how you keep missing these opportunities. When you focus on the blessings, focus on any little thing that you can be grateful for or that you're happy with in your life. This is going to keep you calm and going to help you maintain that spiritual connection, maintain that connection to yourself and your intuition as you go on the uncertain path. But if you get so caught up in your head about the material world and all the stresses, it's going to bring you down and down, down, and it's going to weaken your connection here. So again, this is also initiation, because like I was saying, your material abundance is going to reflect the vastness of your spiritual self. And so another reason this is happening right now is because like I was saying, another reason this is happening right now is because you are learning how to manifest in the physical world. So this is also part of that greater spiritual initiation. All right, so that's what I have for you guys. Please leave a comment if you resonated with this, and let me know if you would like more pick a card readings. And if you'd like a personal reading, I will leave it in the description below, and I'll see you next time. Okay, pile 4. Let's get into your reading of what is blocking you in your love and relationships. Okay. We have the Death card, the Stag, which is pride and leadership, and the Cow, which is nourishment, abundance, asking, and receiving. Okay, so with the Death card here, there's obviously a massive transformation taking place in your life when it comes to your relationships, and I really feel that this has to do with your ability to be confident in yourself and get what you deserve in relationships. In the past, you could have been somebody who plays themselves small, somebody who doesn't speak up for themselves, and also you might have issues when it comes to receiving and things like this. So what this Death card is representing the transformation that is taking place for you, where you're going to, either you have gone through this already or you're about to go through this, is a transformation regarding any wounds that have blocked you from really standing up and taking that leadership role, not only in like the grand scheme of your life, but also just within yourself, feeling worthy enough to take on that role of a leader, having authority over your life and not being afraid to ask for what you need. In the past, there could be issues with, accepting the bare minimum, or not being afraid, or being afraid to speak up for yourself, speak your truth. And you are somebody who is capable of being a very strong leader, of somebody who is capable of having that authority. And I feel like it's just these wounds that are being addressed now as this transformation takes place are the only things that were blocking you from doing that. And when you can do that, you're going to be able to come into a lot more healthy relationships where you can actually fully be yourself, where you're getting what you deserve, and you're giving what others deserve. Because there's another aspect of this as well, when you're not allowing yourself to take on that leadership role, to let yourself stand out, to ask for what you need, to not accept the bare minimum. You're also doing a disservice to other people, because while you're not getting what you need, they're not getting what they need either, because you're really hiding your true self in the way that you would normally have an interaction with them. So if they're breadcrumbing you, and you're afraid to speak up for yourself, or afraid to ask what you want, or even feel like you don't deserve better than that, then this person's not going to learn that maybe they're selfish and maybe they shouldn't act the way that they're acting if you're not standing up for yourself, right? And it just it harms you, and it harms other people in the long run. So you're really now coming into a time where you can step into that power and step into that authority over yourself, and really accept what you want and be able to recognize. So I feel like there was a wound here that had blocked you from being able to see your worth. And that's what had kept you in a situation where you were accepting less than what you deserve. And now that you have gone through this transformation, or you're going through this transformation now, you're able to see clearly what that wound was. And it just seems ridiculous to you to accept anything less. Like, you, just by that realization and letting that go, you're really understanding your true value. You're not hiding it anymore. And it's very easy for you to recognize when something's not healthy for you and healthy for you. And it's bringing, that in and of itself is bringing in a lot of abundance into your life. Not just in terms of relationships and people treating you well and giving you what you need and what you deserve, but also this affects other aspects of your life. If you had this wound around self-value and self-worth and self-esteem, this can also affect you in your work life. You could have been accepting less pay than what you deserve, or just not living as comfortably as you deserve to be, or whatever the case is. This self-value and self-worth directly tie into what we allow ourselves to have in all areas of life. So this is all changing for you now, and it's starting with you speaking the Nine of Swords, with you standing up for yourself. And we really start off this reading with essentially I feel like now you're at a point where you're coming out of this transition phase. You've realized what that wound was, and now it seems like a no-brainer to just really embody that leadership energy and go after what you want. So, and this happens with communication, with communicating what you want and understanding what you want, and as a result of that, also understanding what others are capable to give you. Like, there's no more, if you're in a relationship with somebody who is just, if they're like emotionally avoidant, or like there's something going on there where they're just not capable of giving you the love that you deserve, right? They're just not capable of that. And because you understand your own personal wounds so much now, you can really see that in others. And it's, not really taking it personally and not really having resentment towards the person, but just understanding like, oh, you're incapable of giving the love that I deserve because you can't do that for yourself. Like they have their own wounds, right, that aren't addressed, and that's how that was playing out. And now it's going to be very easy for you to recognize, like, not trying to force a connection or force a relationship to work when this person is emotionally incapable, emotionally unavailable of giving you what you need, but you would stay anyway because you thought maybe like you would just accept the breadcrumbs of that. And now you're able to clearly recognize, like, no, this person, I can't fall in love with the potential. This person is just not capable of giving me that, and I'm moving on. So when you're moving on, we have the Four of Wands, the Queen of Wands. Then you're actually moving on to, I feel like there's been a lot of heavy energy for you lately, and either right now you feel it lifting off of you, or you're about to, and it was to do with this transmutation and this healing of this wound around self-worth and self-value. And so now you feel this energy lifting off, and you're easily able to recognize anybody that's not fit for you, anyone that is, deliberately trying to give you less than you deserve, deliberately trying to deny your value. You're able to, or even if they're not, you just understand, like, they're emotionally unavailable. They can't do that for me. I'm moving on. And when you move on, the more that you focus on your self-value and leave behind the potential of people and just allow them to show you who they are, and being honest with yourself with that, and always choosing your own self-respect and your own worth over that, the more you move in that direction, the happier you will be, and the more you will attract relationships that actually understand this about you, that actually understand what you need. And this also has to do with speaking up as well, because I feel that before you had understood why you were being like breadcrumbed in relationships and things like that, a lot of it has to do with being able to speak up for yourself, having the courage to say what you need to say and move in the direction you want to move in. Like confess what you want, or say what you need to say and be willing to leave if it's not reciprocated. And so a lot of this is like clearing any blockages that comes to speaking. Also, like the more you pour into yourself instead of being in love with the potential of someone or like this fantasy or whatever, the more you pour into yourself and make your own self a priority, and like, you know, fall in love with the potential of yourself, because you can actually enact that, but you can't force anybody else to live up to their potential. So fall in love with the potential of yourself and just keep moving in that direction, and you attract the people that are actually aligned with you, that actually see your worth, and you're able to speak and interact with them from a place of like the stag energy, of this place of confidence, this place of leadership. And that brings a lot of happiness into your life, and that brings this new kind of ability for you to create in a lot more ways, because even though this energy is directly related to relationships and how you allowed yourself to be treated, it's also this wound around self-worth has also like harmed your potential creatively, and when you're with your self-expression, and also in regards to your finances and working a job that you actually find enjoyment in, or doing something that you actually find enjoyment in. And there's this sense of always being like always getting the short end of the stick, and sometimes you really didn't understand why. It was just like you see other people that have like lovely bosses, and you see other people that have all these lovely relationships and things, but for some reason you're always the one that's at a job with a toxic boss. No matter how many times you move, like the boss is toxic, or like things like this. And it all has to do with you know, this energy of the stag here, this leadership, taking authority over your life, having confidence, and also speaking up for yourself, speaking your truth. And because that was stifled, I feel like you've also, as a result, stifled a lot of your creative energy as well. And so as much as this is a journey about self-worth and self-value and learning to you know, fall in love with the potential of yourself and stand up for yourself and things like this, it's also about your self-expression, and that's also related to your creativity. And the more you keep working you know, on your potential, falling in love with your potential, and you keep speaking your truth, you keep saying what you like and don't like, what you agree with and don't agree with, what you want and what you don't want, and moving towards that, the more this will unlock your creative energy. It will build your confidence. The more you're able to speak for yourself and stand up for yourself. If somebody asks you to do something and you don't want to, you're not like, oh, I guess, and then you go do something that you hate for 3 hours. You're just like, no, I don't feel like it. And there's no guilt attached to it. There's no you know, anything like that. You're just like, no, that's not something I'm interested in. Hope you have fun or whatever. You're not like doing anything that you just absolutely can't stand just because to be agreeable, right? So the more you do that, the more you're unlocking this self-expression, which unlocks your creativity, which brings you into this space of like a lot of happiness, a lot of fun, and a lot of potential. I also want to say there's potential to make money here. And I think if you're somebody, like I was saying earlier, that has been stuck in jobs that seem very toxic, like you're always getting the short end of the stick, I feel that the key to really unlocking more potential in your work is through self-expression and creativity. And with the Queen of Wands here, it's like really being confident, really being in control. You could even like start your own thing where you're confident, you're in control, you're having fun, and you're just really focused on yourself. And like I said, you've fallen in love with your own potential. So you're not really worried about anyone, if anyone's going to give you what you deserve or whatever. You're not worried about it. If they're going to give you what you deserve, if they're meant to be in a relationship with you, then you will be able to see that clearly because you have boundaries, you know what you want. And if you're not recognizing that in the other person, then you're just simply not interested. Now, with the Seven of Swords and the Five of Pentacles here, it's kind of a weird energy because it's like, I feel like on one hand, this can be you sabotaging yourself because you need to be able to express yourself. And I feel like there might be times as you transition into living a life of your, like, more on your own terms and more in line with your boundaries and your values. There can be challenges that you come across when it comes to people of authority that try to stifle this development. And in that case, then you have to walk away from those situations. So there's the potential for that because you're obviously, when you start to value yourself and you start to speak up for yourself, the friendships and the relationships that you've made before you grew into this sense of self-value, they're not going to expect that, and they're not going to be comfortable with it because they've been so comfortable with just breadcrumbing you, right? So there can be conflicts that come up because of that, and don't allow yourself to play small because of that. Keep stepping into your power here, essentially. And I feel that you're going to know to do that, you're going to be able to do that, but at the same time there's this fear that comes up, because you could fear being alone, because when you heal this wound around self-worth, and then you come to realize that a lot of the people around you, sometimes all of the people around you were people who were breadcrumbing you and didn't value you, and you just couldn't see it, or you just tolerated it. And, it can really feel like a betrayal because it can feel like you don't get along with these people anymore. And now you know better. Like, this Ace of Swords is like that epiphany. And you're like, I realize that these people didn't actually have my best interest. These people didn't actually want me to succeed. These people don't like when I speak up for myself. And then when you have to move away from the situation, or even if you're still stuck in the situation, you can feel very alone. You can feel like you don't have support. And it's difficult to go through, but this is just the beginning. So what's happening right here? So at the end we have the Sun card. So you can fear, so there could be, if you start to get into conflicts with the people around you, or even you're just realizing like, oh, now that I understand my self-worth, like I can see how a lot of people around me have actually been snakes or haven't actually had my best interest, whether or not they're conscious of that. Some people, this can be deliberate. Some people, they're just also wounded. They also have a wound around self-value, so they don't understand what they're doing, and that's part of the reason that why you were attracted to each other, right? So when you have to do this, it can feel like you're alone, you have no support. But with the Sun card here, this feeling of alone is just temporary. It's just because you've transformed out of your environment, out of this place where people don't support you and appreciate you. But the thing is, this Ace of Swords is in between these cards, so it's like you're going through all this, you're understanding all this, and you're still surrounded by this environment. So it can feel discouraging, and it can feel depressing, and it can feel isolating to go through that. But you're being asked to really stay true to yourself. Like, that's what this whole test is. This is like the final part of the transformation. It's like, okay, you realize the wound around self-value and self-worth and leadership and self-expression. So now you're in the transition period where you're going to leave this environment and go into your new beginning with these new people and have fun. But this is like the final test. It's like, okay, now you know your self-worth, you know the value of self-expression. So now you have to apply those boundaries and apply those principles and maintain your boundaries even when it feels isolating, even when it feels alone, because you know the alternative is people undervaluing you, self-sabotaging you, or you sabotaging yourself. So you don't want to take a step back. You want to just trust in yourself. And if there's nobody around that appreciates your value, then so be it. You know, this situation is only temporary. You know, just interact with people how you have to, but you're going to have the awareness now to know when people are trying to backstab you or give you less than what you deserve. And also the ability of self-expression to speak up. There might have been times as well in your life where you knew people were undermining you, or you knew people were giving you less, but you didn't say anything because you didn't want to stir the boat. Well, now is the time to just not even entertain that and just focus on this new beginning. This is your value. This is what you want in a relationship. This is what you want out of life. This is what I deserve. And if you can't give it to me, I'm moving. Even if I have to go it alone for a little bit, I'm leaving this situation because I know now that I don't deserve to live with nothing. I deserve a lot more than that. So that's the path that you're on now. Stick to that path. Maintain your boundaries. Don't let yourself fall back because don't let yourself fall back into a place where you're afraid to express yourself. And if you can't express yourself to the people around you, just, keep it moving, because you're going to be in a new space where you do meet people that are supportive, that are meant to be in your life, that are good. I also want to say, this is coming through too with the Seven of Swords. You're getting a lot of good ideas right now. You're getting a lot of clarity on things. A lot of this stuff you want to keep to yourself right now. Because one, there's people that, okay, so when you have a glow up or whatever, right, it triggers the people around you because you're showing them what they have the potential to do, but they won't. So you want to be careful about sharing your ideas, sharing your plans, sharing your goals, because there's people out there that will be jealous. There's people that will want to sabotage them, and whatever the case. And they're people you don't suspect. See how you're not looking at what's happening here. They're people that you don't suspect. This is like really like 12th house energy, hidden enemies type thing. So you want to be careful when it comes to that. Don't share things with people, and you'll know intuitively if it's something you can share, or you might just want to only tell them partial what you're doing, not the full potential of where you really want to go, right? If you have to, it comes up in conversation, you have to say something. Don't tell people the full potential of where you want to go. People are going to be intimidated by your potential now. And they're going to want to sabotage it, be jealous of it, and whatever the case. And also, don't let the negative energy of these people interfere with what you want to do. But beware of people that you think you can trust that you can't actually. This could be like, this is like giving like the jealous best friend, like the best friend that's jealous of you, or secretly jealous, like, you know what I mean, like these kind of energies. So just be careful. These are enemies you can't see, and you're going to become very wise now. The more you uncover these wounds and go through this transformation, you are going to become very wise. But there's something about this where it's like, these are people you would normally be vulnerable with, but it's like you can't let them into your mind right now. And there might be people that really want to pick your mind right now. People want to know where you're going, especially because people can sense when you're about to do better. People often can sense when you're about to do better before you even can, because you're focused on how sad and bleak and isolating the situation is now that you've uncovered the truth about everything. And you're not focused on, the potential. Like, yes, you're focused on your priority and your goals and you're moving in that direction, but you're not totally seeing the big picture. And oftentimes the people, especially people that are jealous of you and things of that nature, that benefit from keeping you where you are, they're going to notice when you're about to glow up. They're going to notice when you're about to be on to bigger and better things. So just be mindful of that. If you feel like you should keep something to yourself, keep it to yourself. Just work on what you need to work on and move in the direction you need to move, and don't really let people in on the bigger plan until you're ready to take action. And also until you're ready, if you're still feeling vulnerable when it comes to defending yourself and self-expression and things like this, these ideas and the information you're receiving now, it's very vulnerable for you. It can be sabotaged because they're still just ideas, they're potential, and because you're just walking into this path of really stepping into your self-value and potential, you don't want the negative opinions of others or somebody trying to talk you out of what you're doing. You want to really move towards your potential to get into this new beginning and meet people that are aligned with you. So we'll get some advice for you now. Okay, yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about with Seven of Swords. It says, practice shape-shifting by altering your physical appearance and mannerisms. And this is what I'm talking about, this situation here that you're going to go through, or you are going through, you're about to go through. As you transition out of the relationships you're in now, the places you're in now, and you move into this new beginning, you're essentially, when you receive all this information, when you have all these epiphanies, these realizations, and you're starting to work on the plan to get out of the situation to maximize your potential, right? You're still going to be in this situation for a while, and because, it took years to build your life to this point. It's going to take a bit of time for you to work on these plans and start moving in a new direction. So you're going to be probably living where you're living for a while, or whatever your situation is with these toxic relationships. It's going to take a while for it to fall away. So in that time, because you don't want everyone to know what you're thinking right now, you don't want anyone to sabotage your ideas, you get the picture. Even though you see the truth of everything, it's going to be beneficial for you to be diplomatic about things at this time. To not waste your energy on conflicts, to not waste your energy on people that are trying to get something out of you, trying to come back now that you see the truth. You're going to be able to see the truth, but it might benefit you to be diplomatic and still, participate in these environments to a certain extent. Don't just, go all in and sabotage your relationships because you realize these things. Allow yourself to slowly drift apart, and you can do that by being diplomatic with people. You might see the truth about a situation, but it's still, if you're I don't know, in a job, it's like you see the truth of the situation, but you don't want to just up and leave your job because you don't want to just, you're not ready to do that. So even though you see the truth about why your job is toxic and why you ended up there, from a spiritual perspective and things like this, you still want to act diplomatic with those people. You don't want to just start telling everybody how, what you really think right now. It's not going to be beneficial to you. So, yeah, just um, keep that in mind. But also, I feel like this is also an indication of, we're talking about self-expression and creativity, and I think that this is also a good time for, if you found that you were dressing a certain way or looking a certain way or living a certain way because you were afraid to fully express yourself, if there's like an alternative way you wanted to dress or something like that, and you were kind of afraid to do it, this is a good time to start experimenting with different styles that you'd like, or things that you've always liked to try but you kind of didn't want to be weird, or things like that. The things that like that can build your self-confidence, help you with self-expression, and also help you attract the people in your life that are actually capable of having reciprocal relationships with you, because you're not hiding who you really are. You're actually being yourself. And what's crazy is it feels like, I was gonna say no other advice cards want to come out. Okay, and we have, you're a lot tougher than you think you are. Yeah, this situation that will come about where this is kind of like in the Matrix, or is it the no, not the Matrix. They Live, where he puts on the glasses and he can see everything for what it is. That's kind of what's going to happen to you if it hasn't happened to you already. Where you see everything for what it is. You understand people's wounds around their own self-worth and why they treat you like this, and your discernment is going to be on all-time high, and it can be tough to navigate, and you can also feel like you're isolated, you're not supported, because now you're on your own, because your life has been built up around a lot of falsehoods, right? And now you can see clearly. So you're a lot tougher than you think you are. You will get through this. Just keep focusing on yourself, walking the path that you want to walk. This is going to bring in, as dark as it can seem in those times, it's going to bring in what you really want in the end. It's going to be worth it. And this is all kind of just, it's like you go through this transformation, and this is kind of like the final test, where it's like, okay, are you going to set these boundaries? Are you going to walk this path? And when you do, you will meet the people that you are meant to meet and that you're meant to be with. Okay. So we have do a walking meditation each day for the next week. Now, that doesn't have to necessarily be exactly a walking meditation, but it can be, whatever brings you into that meditative state, whatever allows you, because you're going to have a lot of epiphanies right now, a lot of profound realizations about what's really been going on around you and within you, and it'll just benefit you to really be in that kind of high priestess energy of meditation, or even just doing something that helps you meditate. Like, I like to crochet, and that something like that is a meditative practice, that where you can just really sit with yourself and connect with yourself. That's going to help you really also get clear, and it's also going to help you feel supported within yourself when you might feel like there's not a lot of support in the external world. Okay, and then we have act on the opportunity that's in front of you and commit to it. Once you see the truth, once you see your potential, like I said, fall in love with that potential and keep moving in the direction. Don't let other people hold you back. And if this Ace of Swords is coming in the form of an opportunity, like, take the opportunity. And that opportunity could be an idea, especially when we're talking about your self-expression and your creativity. Act on that idea, because that's going to lead you to where you want to be and lead you to a lot of good opportunities. And then we have make a stand for what you believe in and do what feels right in spite of any judgment or disapproval from others. So again, that's what I was saying. Don't let other people hold you down. Stay firm in your values. Don't compromise yourself for people who wouldn't do the same for you, to people that are breadcrumbing you and things like that. Don't be afraid to walk away and, you know, go your own way and take your energy back from people that are doing that to you. And that's how you're going to really come into your own. And when you do start this new cycle, that's when you're going to meet the people that actually appreciate your value. You're going to end this cycle of being breadcrumbed and find friendships and relationships that actually align with you and are actually healthy and that you can feel satisfied in, and not like you have to play it small and not express who you really are. All right, so that's what I have for you. If this resonated with you, please like and leave a comment and let me know if you'd like more pick a card readings. And if you'd like a personal reading, it is in the description below. And I will see you next time.